Hey everyone, this is Michael Houston with Heirloom Wealth Management. It's summertime, the weather's great. Maybe you're thinking about making the purchase that you always wanted, a boat, RV, cabin, beach house, whatever it is. The seller knows the purchase price. What we want to help you with today is determine the true cost of ownership. If you can answer these 5 questions in the affirmative, I'm going to give you permission to pull the trigger on this and make the purchase. So let's just jump right in. Number 5, rent first. A lot of times we'll talk with people that are considering buying a vacation home, for example. My suggestion is always try it out. Get a VRBO in the area you're thinking about buying. A lot about place and the costs and what you like, what you don't, before you actually pull the trigger. And so that's a good first step, rent before you buy. Number 4, the rule of 10, okay? When we buy an ATV, when we buy a vacation home, you want to add 10% to the annual estimated cost of ownership for things like insurance, storage, maintenance. The sellers won't put that on the sales price, but that's something that we need to factor in when making our decision. Number 3, the exit price. This is going to be on the positive side. When we go to sell something 5 years down the road, if we bought an ATV, we're going to at least get something back, recoup part of that expense. It's not hard to determine, and if we're buying a vacation home, this might even be above what we paid on the purchase price. So it's something that we want to figure out and have a conservative estimate around when we're making our decision. Number 2, the cost per day. So I'm going to walk you through an example because this is probably the most important number to know when you're making this purchase to help you evaluate whether this is a good choice or not. So just give you an example. Let's say that we're going to be buying a boat. Let's look at it over a 5-year time horizon. Let's say the purchase price of this boat is $60,000. The rule of 10 tells us we need to budget 10% a year every year that we own it for maintenance, storage, things like that. So in that case, $6,000 a year. Let's multiply it by 5, we get $30,000. $60,000 purchase price plus the $30,000 rule of 10 number gets us to $90,000. Now we can subtract the exit price. We could look at a similar boat, 5 years old, see what it's selling for in the marketplace. Let's just say that that's $20,000. We can actually subtract that from the cost of ownership. $90,000 minus $20,000 gets us to a $70,000 number. Now we want to get to the most important data point. When we look at the cost per day, this is really going to help us decide whether we're better off owning or renting. So if we take that $70,000 figure, divide it by 5, we get $14,000 per year. Now let's say that you're going to use that boat 20 days per year, right? Your cost per day is $700 per day. If you're going to be using it 90 days per year, your cost of ownership of this per day that you're going to use it is $155 a day. A big difference. And if you're on the lower end, probably makes sense to buy it rather than rent it. If you're on the higher end, maybe consider renting it rather than owning it. Final criteria that I want you to answer before making this purchase prevent you from making the investments that you need to be able to retire. We recommend 15% of your income every year go into retirement investments. If you're able to make the retirement investments and still afford this purchase, go ahead and pull the trigger, because at Heirloom Wealth Management, one of the things that we want to focus on is being financially successful. But at the end of the day, it's all about, enjoying life. And if you're not confidently making the decisions, they're going to bring you joy. What's the point? So thanks a lot for joining me today. Hopefully you found this helpful. We'll see you again next week.